Welcome back to Israel's Movie Reviews, and today we're going to be discussing one of the most horror icons of all time, and one of my favorite movies of all time growing up. We're going to be speaking about the original Child's Play back from 1988, and this movie is so nostalgic for me because it's one of the, besides Nightmare on Elm Street, is one of the first horror films that I actually got to see, and man, boy, was this a classic. Definitely became a modern classic today. This movie is highly entertaining for a horror film. After this movie, you'll definitely be wanting a friend to the end. And this movie basically is about a single mother played by Catherine Hicks, who's a phenomenal actress. You guys probably know her from her role as a mom in Seventh Heaven. She buys her son Andy, Alex Vincent, a good guy doll. Chucky becomes the young kid's best friend after a few bizarre happenings, and the kid is convinced that the doll's alive. The mother doesn't believe him at first, but soon she realizes the truth, but she can't convince the police or the police detective, played by Chris Sarandon, that the doll is actually alive and actually killing people. A lot of people take her for a joke, you know. That's what I loved about the film. As I got older, it was realistic. Who's gonna listen to a person claiming that a doll is killing people, right? If we heard that today, we'll probably laugh. And you know, that goes on through the story. You know, Child's Play certainly wasn't the first movie to deal with killer dolls, but there's a question that it's become the best known and the most loved, you know, throughout cinema history. It's really amazing how well the film has held up after nearly 30 plus years. And it's clear that there's no slowing down. As the series continues to get sequels, it's continued to have a show that has 2 seasons now, and it's in good hands for the most part. With that being said, as good as some of the sequels were and are, they can't compare to the original film, which had Chucky being one evil maniac. I love the aesthetic of him, red hair, freckles, the blue eyes. I love the fact that he's an evil doll that has kind of 2 looks. When he's on, he has this menacing look, and when he's not, he has that toyish look, that very modern look for a doll, you know. And because of that, the film works on many levels. But the best thing about it is that it goes against the majority of what slasher films, especially around that time, went through and go through. Instead of trying to come up with these creative kills, the film instead plays out like a thriller, and on the surface, and on this level, it works extremely high. The story of the single mother and her son, I believe, was a great setup, and this really adds to the drama in the film. Even though the first half of the film acts as a slow burn, because there are points where if you didn't watch the trailer and if you coming into this movie blind, you probably thought the little boy was bugging. You probably think that the little boy was the killer until it's revealed that, you know, the doll was the killer. And I think that adds to the drama and the tension in the film. Even better to me is the relationship between the cop and the mother, as this added even more drama that plays itself out well against the basic elements, the horror elements of the film. Then to me, that's how true it is. You saw Chucky almost threw the fucking phone at me. And then you've got a great killer in the Chucky doll, but there's also the entire story dealing with the serial killer played by Dourif, who is legendary in this role. You know, his voice, his laugh. I loved every part of this film. I loved him. He is Chucky. Just the way he exudes himself through a doll was, to me, top notch. That's what made the film not only legendary, but it made him such an icon. And now that his daughter is actually in the franchise and most likely going to pick up that mantle, I think it's very unique that a father and daughter could actually, you know, continue a franchise, a legacy. I think that was without Brad Dourif as the voice, as Chucky himself, who knows where this franchise would have been. You know, the special effects are also another major plus, and especially how perfectly blended the mechanical Chucky was, as well as the moments where he's actually be played by an actor, a small actor. The film manages to have some nice suspense, and it's certainly very well directed by Tom Holland. You know, the film is certainly one of the better horror films from the later day slasher era. You know, he does, I think, a quite job scaring us with this, you know, cliche-ridden, unoriginal story of the serial killer transferring his soul to a toy in a toy store, basically before he dies because he was shot. But the doll to me is incredibly airy. Like I said, with those deep eyes, red hair. My name's Chucky. Wanna play? You know, I thought much of the plot was very predictable, especially towards the middle, especially the ending. The execution of the plot, I think, was first rate. You know, add on to some of the earnest acting from Catherine Hicks, Chris Sarandon, even Alex Vincent. You know, he gets a lot of shit for his role. He was only 6 years old at the time. And you have a pretty entertaining feature here. The special effects that helped Chucky come alive seemed to actually really work. And it made the film what it was. Brad Dourif, you know, and that demented Chucky voice, that demented sound of his was evil personified. And, you know, Dina Manoff has a small role, but is as important role, which she plays very well. The atmosphere is definitely set on suspense. That's what I loved about the Chucky film, the original. Suspense. And it's roller coaster of a ride as we see this doll slowly becoming human and seeking out only to murder, hoping for salvation, which is a good scare. And this was definitely a classic. Definitely go check this movie out. Let me know what you think of on the Discord. And look forward to hearing you and seeing you on the next one. Like, share, subscribe. Peace.